Good morning. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners Agenda Setting Work Session for Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. It's 9:03 a.m. My name is Ty Menser, Chair of the Board. My left is Vice Chair Commissioner Wayne Fournier, Commissioner Gary Edwards, Commissioner Emily Klaus, Commissioner Kelly Mejia on Zoom, and joining us just momentarily. Public virtual attendance available on Thurston County YouTube channel. County Manager Leonard Hernandez and Assistant County Managers Rob Gelder, Josh Cummings, and various staff members. This is a second review of this afternoon's board meeting agenda, December 3rd, but County Manager, I know you have an update.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good morning, everybody. Clerk, do you want to start with the items regarding adds to the agenda?
There are two items for your consideration to add today to the agenda for this afternoon. It is the two HCP land acquisitions that you have previously discussed and provided direction to staff to move forward with both of those. One of them is in the OPG service area and the other is in the YPG East service area. And so with your approval, we'll prepare a motion for you this afternoon to amend the agenda to include both of these consent items.
Consent items.
And these are the previously reviewed land acquisitions.
Any questions, concerns from the board? Looks like we're good. All right, thank you.
And then, Commissioners, on item 9A in today's agenda, it's a public works item. There is a proposal for reallocation, but we wanted to make sure that the board was good with the direction to reallocate savings from the water and sewer projects with a move to expand the 2025 overlay project by up to $775,000. There was an email that was sent out by our Public Works Director, Jennifer Walker, on November 25th that kind of gave this update, but we wanted to make sure that the board gave us their thumbs up approval to do that so that contractually we are crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's.
We appreciate Public Works looking to find innovative ways to use that savings to help projects move forward.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of identifying things, moving things over, but for sequencing, we wanted to make sure that the board was comfortable with that prior to us continuing with item 9A. We're here to answer any questions.
I did see that email, and I don't have any issues myself. Okay.
Okay,
Looks like we're good.
thank you so much. With that, we'll hand back to you, Chair.
And just maybe, Madam Clerk, is there any, or if this is not easily doable, just let me know, but can you let us know if there's been any changes since last week's review? I know I saw there was maybe some ads for some reappointment to committees, but
Right.
sometimes you have a little yellow summary of what's
yeah.
changed. But is there anything else we should be aware of from that change from last week's review?
There were no other changes other than the addition of the appointments that were reviewed last week.
Okay, and then we slid that one item off consent, but
Right,
that was
into a department
discussed.
item.
Okay, just want to make sure so that we don't, there's a lot of stuff on here and
It's a busy
easy for us
one
to
today.
miss changes. Okay, then let's just go through this quickly. We've got consent items 1 through 42. A lot of them are catch-up voucher lists, so we'll cover those when we get there. But item 3.1, essential services lease amendment extension with Capital Recovery Center. And Thomas is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Rick Thomas, the manager of the Capital Projects Planning Group. There's three leases in front of us today. The first one is a lease extension for the Capital Recovery Center. This is for the public health lease, approximately 480 square feet of office space and 800 square feet of warehouse space for the drug user health program. This extension would allow the program to occupy that space for an additional year. There was a question at the last meeting in regards to why it was only a year. And I talked to the project manager on that. The reason it's only for a year is that this group has another place that they're actually going to be moving to in a year. And so this is the interim time for them to go ahead and stay. So it's all been coordinated from a timing perspective.
Makes sense. Commissioner Edwards?
A lot of times these issues have dates associated with them. Is there a date associated with this for the 1 year?
Yes. The 1 year, the end date is revised from May 31st of 2024 to May 31st of 2025.
That needs to be in the motion or not, but it's normally dates affiliated with. So this is kind of a backdated activity.
That is correct.
Do you want to?
No, I'm not, I'm only if it's a legal issue or anything, that's all. The only reason I bring it up. For it.
All right. Well, if Travis pops in it later, we can ask. Item 2, thank you. Item 2 is lease amendment extension with West Thurston Regional Fire Authority.
This is the Thurston County Sheriff's Office. They rent approximately 180 square feet of office space from the West Thurston Regional Fire. This extension will allow the Sheriff's Office to occupy that space for an additional 3 years. So this is a 3-year lease extension to that space.
I guess I'd have that same question on this. Does it need to have a date in there? I don't know the answer to that.
All right, I'm writing it down. Just
I don't believe the dates need to be in the motion because it's in the contract and the amendment itself to extend it.
Okay, good, thank you.
Just for the record, this one does show that the end date is revised from December 31st, 2024 to December 31st of 2027.
questions on sub 2? Okay, 3.3, Central Services lease amendment with TCOM 911.
So this amendment does a couple of things. It provides clarification around the rental rates in the original lease, and it corrects the rates that were submitted with Amendment 1 due to the missing facility building reserve rates, and it provides the latest established rates that are projected for 2025, and it adds the lessee's responsibility for the newly installed UPS system in the building. And this one, at our last meeting, you asked that there be clarification to the motion, and so we clarified it to read, move to approve Amendment 2 for lease 025-217-633-989 with TCOM 911 to include the annual building reserve rate for 2024 of $77,814.61 and a forecasted annual 3% increase in all rates for the 2025 in the amount of $7,088.60. Any other questions with that?
No? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next up is Commerce General Clean Energy RFA Grant Agreement, item 4, under consent.
Good morning, everyone. Rebecca Harvey, Climate Mitigation Senior Program Manager. So this item is a grant contract with the Washington State Department of Commerce for a planning grant of $130,000 with no county match required. That is funded by the Washington Climate Commitment Act to conduct a multi-site community solar feasibility study. We will be hiring a technical consultant to evaluate the potential of 10 county-owned sites, and we'll identify up to 5 of the sites for detailed solar feasibility studies that include site feasibility as well as potential ownership and funding opportunities, and will prepare us for future grant opportunities to consider installing solar on some of our buildings. We discussed it last week and we're here to answer any further questions.
Anything else for Rebecca? Nope, good to go.
Great.
Thank you. Item 3.5 is request for proposals for Energize Thurston 2025 heat pump and heat pump water heater installation services.
Yep, so this item is we discussed last week, I had sent an email brief on the 19th of November, and this is to issue an RFP to establish a qualified installer roster of HVAC and plumbing contractors to provide installations of heat pumps and heat pump water heaters for the Energize Thurston campaign that we're rolling out in March in partnership with the cities of Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, and Tenino. And we plan to bring back the contracts the March 4th meeting resulting from this RFP. Are there any questions?
I have a comment. I'll just say, thank you for all the work you put into this. I know you've been really excited about Energize Thurston, and I have been too. And so it's really exciting to see some progress on this. And I look forward to the March meeting when we can hear, you know, all about the applications and what the recommendations are. So thanks for all your work on this.
Thank you.
You've got Energized Thurston so embedded in my brain that when I was trying to charge my car, instead of Electrify America, I kept typing Energize America.
Nice.
And nothing was coming up, and I was starting to panic. I was like, I know there's a car charging place. And it literally took me 10 minutes to figure out that I was trying to energize America instead of electrify it. So it was pretty funny. I knew exactly where that word came from in my head. All right, very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Item 6 is a reappointment to the Agriculture Advisory Committee for Gary Klein. And I think we've discussed this last week. Nothing else to really say unless commissioners have questions or concerns. We also have reappointments to the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, or LTAC, and that's Carrie LaRue and Kathy McWade. All good there, I'm assuming. And then we go to item 9 is Noxious Weed Control Board, Jennifer Colvin as a new appointment for District 4. So if there's no questions there, I'll move on to item 10. This is Emergency Services Contract for the Federal Fiscal Year 24 Emergency Management Performance Grant, EMPG.
Morning, Commissioners. Similar to last week, Ben Miller-Todd, Director of Emergency Services. Similar to last week, this is the Emergency Management Performance Grant for fiscal year 24. This is backdated to June 1st, but the state military department didn't receive the grant until September, and contracts were issued in November. This is a common practice with federal grants that pass through the state, that they backdate them to the performance period when it starts, which is June 1st, and then ends September of 2025. With that, I'll open it up to any questions you might have.
Questions for Ben on EMPG? Nope, good to go.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
All right. Moving on to item 11, Human Resources, Emergency Services, Resolution to Reclassify Position.
Good morning, Commissioners. Maria Ponte, HR Director. I'll actually be presenting 4 items this morning, so I'd like to give you a high-level summary, so please stop me if you have any questions. And the first one is a request from Medic 1 to reclassify their Medic 1 training assistant to an administrative assistant 1. This is a cost-neutral request since they are at the same pay range. The second request is from Public Health, and this one is to reduce the FTE of the Public Health Officer from a full-time FTE to a 0.6. If you recall, the position was originally a 0.6 position, but due to the pandemic, it was increased, and now they're seeking to decrease it. That request results in a $87,000 a year reduction. The third request is from the Sheriff's Office. This is what we're referring to as a swap of start dates. They have a sergeant position that was granted as part of the public safety sales tax. It was set to start June 1st of next year. They would like to start it on, or fill it on January 1st and swap that with the start date of a sheriff deputy position, which would start June 1st instead of January 1st. And by filling the sergeant position, which is at a higher pay, it results in an increase to the public sales safety tax of $10,000, and budget has confirmed that it can absorb that.
I'd like to pause, Maria, just to give the commissioners an update. As soon as we're done with budget, the budget team will be ready in consultation with the sheriff and the other departments to bring a public safety sales tax overview. I know that that's been requested and that are making progress on that. So what we're doing right now is tracking with the sheriff and the PAO and public defender the expenses so that we'll be able to come back and talk about that fund and the lookout in 2025 and beyond. Back to you. Sorry about that.
Thank you. And the final request is also from the sheriff. And he would like to fill or make a job offer to fill a chief position from an external candidate. And this is to request that he be able to provide a lead bank of 80 hours as part of a competitive job offer.
Does the sheriff not have that authority? Does he only have authority to go up to 40? Is that why this is agendized, or?
This position is a part of the sheriff management technical pay plan, and it doesn't have a provision for leave bank. Typically I can only think of one exception, but they're usually promotional in-house, so they already have a bank.
Okay.
So this is an exception to the job offer externally.
Okay, so outside of the sheriff's management pay plan, does he typically have the authority to offer a leave bank already, or?
As part of the lateral leave incentives, that's a part of that special bonus for lateral candidates, so kind of, sort of.
Okay, thank you.
But not at this level, so that's where it's coming before you. And we look forward to continuing the conversation about, HR has some ideas about giving some flexibility to appointing authorities so they can have that ability to engage with potential candidates and as part of their offers of employment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. I see next, item 15, contract renewal for backup data storage and expansion purchase.
Sherry L., IT Director, and I am seeking approval to execute the agreement with Bridge Data Solutions to upgrade our backup storage and extend the maintenance agreement for our Cohesity backup solution. Our on-premise backup solution is Cohesity, and that is stored at our data center, and we have a disaster recovery component of it, which is stored in the cloud, and that's the Fort Knox portion of it. Our backup needs have increased. It's about 5 to 7 terabytes a year that our data increases, so we need to increase the capacity of the storage.
Questions? Thank you, Sherry.
Okay.
Item 16 is PHSS, Amendment to Franz Anderson Interlocal Agreement. Tom Webster, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Webster with the Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention. So we talked about this last week. This is an amendment to an interlocal agreement that we have with the cities of Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater, provide funding for the construction of a project on Franz Anderson. So this amendment is moving funds. Originally, we had ARPA funds coming to this project, and this amendment is using local funds instead. So it's a shifting of funds. It's not a reduction in the amount of commitment of funds. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Tom? Went over this a couple times. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, 17, PHSS, reappointment of Regional Housing Council, Homeless Services, and Affordable Housing Advisory Board members.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alex Purse, Affordable Housing Program Manager in the Office of Housing and Homeless Prevention. I am here to ask you to reappoint members to the Regional Housing Council's Homeless Services and Affordable Housing Advisory Boards. For the Affordable Housing Advisory Board, we're requesting reappointment of 4 members, Trudy Sukup, Trish Gregory, Jesse Simmons, and Donna Fettern. And 2 members are seeking renewal for Homeless Services Advisory Board, Tammy Smith and Nova Patton.
Questions for these? Thank you.
Chair, can I ask that we go a little bit off? The next item that Alex is here for is until department items, item 8A. And so just for a timing effort, so Alex doesn't have to wait here until all of our department items, can we cover that item now?
Sure. sure. 8A is contract with Family Support Center for affordable housing acquisition.
And it kind of connects with the previous item as well, the ARPA item, so.
Yes, thank you. I was ready to post up. Yes, so this item that I have for the department item is to approve a contract with the Family Support Center South Sound in the amount of $1 million for the acquisition of land and property located at 2440, 3158, and 3520 7th Avenue Southwest Olympia for the development of affordable housing. I gave a lot of information on this item last week, so I won't go through every single thing, but the summary of it is that in August, Family Support Center put in an application to the Regional Housing Council's Affordable Housing Advisory Board Opportunity Fund for a request of $1 million to purchase the property at the address that I just listed. There are four existing housing units there, a duplex with 2-bedroom unit, a 3-bedroom single-family home, and a 1-bedroom single-family home. They intend to continue to use those as affordable rental housing. And then in the future, after they complete phase 2 of their landing project, which they just completed last year, they intend to demolish those existing housing units on this property and build a new 60 to 100 unit affordable rental housing for survivors of domestic violence and families experiencing homelessness. The funds from this, we are doing as Commissioner Mejia mentioned, a funding swap for the ARPA SLRF funding. So we'd be using SLRF funds. They plan to execute the closing on this property on December 20th. So that fits well within our SLRF timeline. So happy to answer questions.
Questions on 8A? Nope.
Thank you. See you this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Okay. Keeps us to
Sorry.
18. Long Lake Resort, Spruce West and East Septic.
Morning, Board of Commissioners. I'm Stuart Whitford, Environmental Health Manager, batting off the bench for a season, who's ill today. So you guys are familiar with the Lost Lake project that we've been doing, partnering with this association to help them fix failing septic systems, reduce public health impacts. So this agenda item, I think it's the third grant agreement that we've developed with the Washington State Department of Ecology for the project in the amount of $472,450. So the recommended action is to authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to execute the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%. The total project value is $472,450. And as you know, we'll be the fiscal sponsor, the administrator of the funds, and provide administrative and regulatory oversight for the replacement of an existing on-site sewage system that currently serves 38 units in the community, which will reduce or prevent bacterial loading into Lost Lake, which is located in the McAllister Creek watershed. Do you have any other questions?
So this is a lake that doesn't have an LMD or anything, so
No.
I guess my question is, we hear from the lake management districts all the time, and we attend their meetings and kind of know what's going on. And so I'm just wondering, for the many lakes that don't have that kind of community structure, how do these things become identified? Or as county folks, are we reacting to community calls that, hey, that we think there's a problem, or are we going out and checking, or how does this?
Yeah, it's both. It's mostly, we get wind of, maybe it was complaints registered about the community in the past, like the Lost Lake, HOA, hey, there's failing septic systems, why are the pumper trucks coming in and out, what's going on? And then we get reached out by people for, is there any assistance that could be provided, because this is a very expensive project. And if possible, we always like those public-private partnerships that invest in things that improve, public health. But they do take a lot of time to energize and to organize and get up to speed. But yeah, we unfortunately, we don't have enough, staffing to, for example, to do, sanitary surveys, countywide, just like we do that for wells, like for public water systems with state funding. We're actually out, doing sanitary surveys of public wells on behalf of DOH. Also, we have a Group B program, but for septics, especially in the rural areas, we're still pretty limited, so this would be kind of an exception.
And then I guess where my head was going is, did this one get identified because of a particularly difficult situation, or just maybe some really, community members that were really paying attention, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, so this is an older development. I don't know exactly how old, but the older septic systems were designed for disposal, not treatment. So what happens over time is they plug and they start to fail. So in this case, because it was, it's a very large RV park, and RVs, because the waste that comes out of an RV because of the lack of dilution and whatever is much stronger, and so you don't have pretreatment, so you're discharging waste streams that are really too high for the septic system to deal with. So in other words, if we had aerobic treatment units, in the past that were maintained on a regular basis when these things were installed, they'd probably still be operating. But in this case, the systems naturally fail and they need to be replaced. And I think a lot of that happens simultaneously. In other words, this one failed and then the other one fails. And you see that in, I remember like in Gamblewood in Kitsap County, where it was developed in the 70s, and all of a sudden we go out and do a sanitary survey and multiple systems are failing because they've all reached their design life.
So I think it's gonna be replaced or something new put in?
Pretty much, yeah, new tanks, new treatment units, new sand filters, new code compliant systems.
So it'll be upgraded?
It's upgraded, and it'll have certified maintenance specialists tracking it. And so it's been a great process because, we've been reviewing permit applications, getting those approved in a timely fashion. They're the ones that actually, developed the grant applications, and we reviewed those and submitted. So it's been actually a really great process.
Yeah, it's a very proactive HOA that is taking this opportunity, but they have to partner with us in order to be eligible to get the funds from the Department of Ecology. So it's a great model that potentially could be replicated down the road.
We've done it with other communities.
Yeah, and historically, I would say statewide, the RV parks on septic systems is not a good deal. It doesn't work well. They need to be on sanitary sewer because of the nature of the waste stream and things like that. So, and we should support RV parks. We have people that live in RVs, they're all over the place. And if we had places that were affordable for them to hook up and stay, that'd be great.
All right, thank you. You got another one? Okay,
Yeah.
What's up next? Is this number 19?
Mm-hmm.
Grant amendment for Lost Lake Community On-Site Sewage System Improvement Project.
Yeah, so this is just a simple grant amendment. So we're asking you to move and approve amendment number 1 for this agreement with the Department of Ecology for Lost Lake to extend the expiration date from 12/31/24 to 12/31/26 and add some termination clause language. Then authorize the Director of Public Health and Civil Services to sign this agreement. So it's a simple way of improving the agreement, but also extending it to ensure the project is completed.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Public Works is up next. Item 20, contract award for steel bridge fabrication for Shawn Drive Southwest. Morning, Matt.
Good morning. Matt Huntsman, Thurston County Engineer. We discussed this item extensively last week, so I'll give a high-level overview. Public Works is requesting permission to award the contract for the fabrication of the bridge for the Shawn Drive Fish Passage Project. The low bidder was Contact Engineered Solutions of West Chester, Ohio, with a bid amount of $88,156. This amount will be paid for using a portion of the $926,000 grant that we have received from the Department of Ecology. So again, we're requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to execute a contract with Contact Engineered Solutions.
For Matt?
Do you know the amount of expanded fish habitat that's gonna be created by?
On Shawn Drive, I should have that memorized.
Yeah, that's okay.
We'll have that for you this afternoon.
All right.
I think it's good for the public to hear that we're still working on that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up is Public Works Materials Testing and Inspection Services On-Call Consultant Contract.
All right, Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Public Works Director to approve an amendment to the Materials Testing and Inspection Services contract to increase the funding limit with materials testing and consulting from $250,000 to $450,000. This contract was initially advertised on July 8th, 2021, with a ceiling amount of $250,000. That contract also allowed for us to extend it for two-year terms. So this would be the first 2-year extension. We've looked at our upcoming construction schedule and determined that $200,000 is needed. It's important to realize that this $200,000 typically is used with local funds to leverage much larger amounts of state and federal funding for construction contracts. So again, we're requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Public Works Director to approve an amendment to the Materials Testing and Inspection Services contract to increase the funding from $250,000 to $450,000.
Nope. Looks like we're good. Public Works number 22, request for qualification for Green Cove Fish Barrier.
All right, so this is an exciting one. Public Works is requesting the Board of County Commissioners authorize the Director of Public Works to issue an RFQ to complete a study for Phase 2 of the Green Cove Fish Barrier Removal Project. The study is estimated to cost $625,000. $500,000 of that will come from a federal grant that we have received. The remainder will come from the REAP funding. The study will provide recommendations for culvert or bridge projects at the crossings of 36th Avenue and Kaiser Road. These two crossings are immediately upstream from the project that we're currently doing at Green Cove. So to summarize, Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Director of Public Works to issue an RFQ for Green Cove Creek Fish Barrier Removal Project.
Okay, questions on?
I'd have the same question just for the.
I actually know this one.
Oh, you know the way. I didn't want to put you on the spot.
This one's an additional mile of fish habitat.
Any other questions for Matt?
Maybe you could mention that.
Sure.
Today.
Jotting all that down. Okay. Bringing us to Sheriff's Office item 23, interlocal agreement with Washington State Department of Corrections, Cedar Creek Correction Center.
Shoot.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right. We went over this last week briefly, but I know.
Right, this is just to allow us to enter into an agreement with the Department of Corrections, Cedar Creek, for emergency services. So if they have an emergency, they're able to call us and we'll respond. Agreement that's required by the state, so that's why we've had one in the past and we're just gonna.
Questions for the sheriff's team? Oh, perfect. Next up is transfer of retired K-9 buoy to Sergeant Knoll.
Yes, you had, K-9 was in here earlier, last week. So he's retired now, and this is just to allow us to transfer him to Sergeant Knoll and to allow us to do a bill of sale to him.
Okay, and maybe similar to public health, should we jump to the sheriff department items? You guys can be on your way. Like, you have one more item, right? And it's item 4A. Let's get to that. Contract amendment for inmate housing.
So this one is with Lewis County Sheriff's Office. It's a contract that we've had for a number of years for overflow housing. We don't currently house anyone there. I don't think we have since 2019. However, our jail population is increasing right now, so there's a possibility in the future.
Just to back up.
Yep.
Questions on 4A this morning? All right. You guys good?
Thank you.
All All right, that brings us to the Treasurer Office, item 25, under consent. And this is a sale of tax title property via public auction. And Treasurer Gabman, good morning.
Good morning. So we brought this item last week. So this is a tax title property that we had originally gotten an offer to purchase on this. And at the time, our information was that there was no water available to this site, making it practically unbuildable or not practical to build on. Since that time, we got new information that there is water available to this site. And so I'm asking you to allow me to take this out to public auction.
Doesn't seem like there's any questions there, so I think we're good to go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 26 through 42 are all sort of catch-up items for our voucher list, week by week with our TC Connect transition. These have been held up, but we're getting caught up. So are there any questions from board members that they'd like to ask? Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
Because there's so many in the time lapse, do we have any improvements to the building or any of this?
Not that I'm aware of, but I will say that I have not personally reviewed these items.
It's a lot of money. I'm trying to remain consistent in my position.
I think we're trying to reach the tail end of all of those.
Yeah, we can go
improvement
back,
items.
Commissioner, and just ask our central service team since June if there's been any improvements to the atrium that would have been included here. And we'll get that to you as soon as we can.
Okay, then let's go on. We've already covered 4A, so now we're up to 5A, which is 2025 property tax levy certification.
Good morning. So we will be bringing forward the 2025 property tax levy certification. And we would ask you to move to approve the resolution to certify the 2025 property tax levies for the general fund, roads, Medic One, and conservation futures to be collected in 2025, and authorize a road levy shift in the amount of $4,700,000 and a road diversion to the current expense fund of $1,500,000. Answer any questions?
Okay, we have some follow-up information that was provided from last week where we had some questions, and that's all distributed to commissioners. Any questions for Summer?
Summer will have a brief page PowerPoint that as she presents this item, she'll scroll through the public's information on this.
Okay. If there's no other questions, then we'll go to item 6A, Community Planning and Economic Development, correction to Resolution 16331 and Ordinance 16332, Greg Cuyo Park, Lacey UGA.
Oh, that's all right. Good morning, Commissioners. This is an item that we're going to have for you for transparency purposes. Upon a review of closer review of the resolution for the Lacey Joint Plan update and UGA expansion, we discovered that there was an error in the map. And so this action made by the board would allow the clerk of the board to go ahead and correct that mapping error on the record.
I'd say there was multiple ways that we could have made this correction, but we wanted to take the most transparent way possible and have this public discussion as a department item, just to ensure that it was fully on the record and fully made aware for transparency's sake. And Lacey is aware they agree with this movement.
Doesn't look like we have any questions there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bringing us to item 7A, Central Services, contract award for Thurston County Mottman 1 Ballot Processing Center project.
Morning, Commissioners. Tony Shaw, Capital Project Manager with Thurston County. As we talked about last week, I'm happy to announce that we received 10 very competitive bids for our ballot processing center building portion of that, which is being funded through the public safety sales tax. The low bidder was Construct Inc. out of Tumwater, Washington, in the amount of $3,069,000, and our anticipated build-out date will be starting hopefully in the next couple weeks and be completed around July of 2025. I'm here for any further questions.
Do we have an engineer's estimate?
We did. So the engineer's estimate came, was going to be between $4 and $5 million. So consistently in the last year or so, our projects have been coming in below engineer's estimates, which is a great thing for the county. And we've also had very competitive bidding out there. So I think that as a county, we are becoming our projects are becoming very sought after. So that really helps us in our bidding. Yeah.
Questions on this one? Thank you, Tony.
Awesome, thank you.
That's good news. Let's go on to item 8A. Oh, we did 8A. Let's go to 9A, Public Works, Contract Award 2025 Overlay Project.
Matt Unsland, Thurston County Engineer. Public Works is requesting permission to award the 2025 overlay project. On November 7th, we received 4 bids for the project. The low bid was received from Lakeside Industries with a bid amount of $1.69 million. The contract includes 3.178 miles of overlay in southwest Thurston County. Those roadways include 183rd between Sergeant Road and Old Highway 99, and Old Highway 9 between Harper Road and State Route 12. So to summarize, Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners for the Public Works Director to execute a contract with Lakeside Industries to complete the 2025 overlay contract.
All right. Remember this for last
At
week?
this point, I will stop and pause and allow allow Joe to do his item.
All right, thanks, Matt. Joe Plahuta here, Senior Water Resource Engineer, Public Works. This item is for contract award of the Boston Harbor Water Main Replacement and Inflow and Infiltration Reduction Project. So this is our second of 2 ARPA-funded water and sewer utility improvement projects. Looks to replace a number of undersized water mains in our Boston Harbor community, as well as making various improvements to the sewer collection system. On October 31st, county opened bids for this project, received 7 bids, similar to what Tony was mentioning earlier. It was a very competitive bidding environment. So our low bidder was Tammany Incorporated of Battleground with a bid amount of approximately $2.2 million. And our engineer's estimate for this work was $2.7 million. With that, I'm available to answer any questions.
Seeing none. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Matt.
I'm still here.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Not going anywhere. All right. That's right. Okay. Then item C is resolution and call for sealed bids for Cooper Road Southwest at Mox Chehalis Creek culvert replacement.
All right. Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to approve a resolution calling for sealed bids and authorizing the county engineer to set the bid date and time for the receipt and opening of the bids for the Cooper Road Southwest at Chehalis Creek culvert replacement project. The estimated construction cost is about $500,000. This will be reimbursed with FEMA funding. This FEMA funding is response to the storm event in 2022 that washed out 2 4-foot culverts. Currently, we have a temporary bridge in place that is in loan from Grace Harbor County, or excuse me, Mason County. We will be removing that bridge and installing our own bridge that is currently sitting in our utility facility, waiting for a contractor to pick it up and install it. So again, we're requesting Board of County Commissioners approve a resolution to advertise the Culvert Road culvert replacement project.
100% FEMA funded?
95% FEMA funded.
And this is far west edge of the county, right?
It's basically the border of the county.
Is it up Grays Harbor?
Yep, it's actually at the ORV Park.
Any fish benefit?
There is some fish benefit. I can't tell you what it is.
No, but I mean, I do think anytime we do fish benefit, we ought to mention it because it's, that's all. I mean,
100%, in all of my fish passage notes going forward, I will have that in there.
All right.
I mean, we're
And
trying to
then
build
the next
goodwill.
piece is related.
It is related.
Resolution for temporary closure of Cooper Road Southwest for this same project, I see.
Yes, so we're requesting permission for the county engineer to temporarily close Cooper Road at this creek crossing. A detour will be put in place. The detour is just using the parking lot of the ORV park, of the ORV park to bypass the crossing. It's about a quarter mile or about a minute time to navigate this detour. 32 vehicles use this crossing each day. So in terms of road closing, this is a pretty low impactful closure. So again, we're requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the county engineer to close this portion of roadway to construct the project.
Any questions? No? Good to go.
Thank you.
All right. Then we'll have commissioner items and reports, and then we'll have a public hearing at 3 or. Says,
It's noticed for 3:30.
Okay.
We have it appears 3:30, so we'll just adjust this.
and then
Yeah.
all right, well, that's probably better because it's probably gonna take an hour and a half to get through all the items. And then we'll have public hearing related to less restrictive alternative community housing code update. And we're all familiar with that piece. Anything else we need to say about that? Nope. So that will take us through this morning's agenda. There's an opportunity, we have a planning session starting in 9 minutes. There's an opportunity for a commissioner item if needed this morning. Go ahead, I saw Commissioner Edwards' hand first.
For the agenda, I didn't see the, are we gonna do the flag salute this morning?
Oh, yeah, it doesn't list that out.
Add that too.
Thank you. We'll add that on, thank you. Commissioner Mejia.
Thank you. I wanted, just because we have a couple of items, I was thinking that for next year, seeing that we're gonna have a new commissioner, to have a discussion on all the buildings that the county is leasing out. And just kind of have that information like laid out of like, these are the buildings that we own. For me, it's been a learning experience as I've been going on the board and seeing these leases come up. But unless you're in one of the committees, you don't know that you're leasing out with TCOM. And so thinking it would be a great overview to lay out all of the buildings that we are leasing out with other agencies.
Do
And
you
this
want an
is-
overview of like all our county facilities?
Well, I think it would be just good for buildings that we're actually leasing out more than anything.
Leased ones.
Yeah,
You want
and-
that to come back as a work session, not just a brief the individual commissioner?
it could be a brief, but I think it's just good information to have, and not for this year at all.
Thank you. Put that together. Josh, one point on it. It sounds like we can do an email brief and then get the information out, brief her, and then if you want to come together and talk about anything, we can go.
Yeah, I know there's been interest from some of the agencies to like, there's been a long history where they want to purchase, right? And so there's like all these kind of details that I think would just be a good refresher for sitting commissioners and definitely a good one for any commissioner coming
I remember thinking, what is this doggone 3400 building Commissioner Edwards keeps talking about?
It's because I've been here so long.
All right, that sounds good. Then, that's, oh yeah, go ahead, sir.
One other issue, on, I don't know, did we clarify, on the face of our, meeting for today, it says at 3:30 we're gonna have public hearings, but it says 3.
Yeah, we're gonna fix that.
Fix that.
Yeah, Amy, I noted that for Amy to make the correction, yes, inconsistent from the front to the back. Okay, so that's good. Let's take 5 or 6 minutes here for a quick break, and we'll reconvene at 10 a.m. for our work, for our planning session.